Notts County Talk, we are live. Another Thursday, another episode of the Pavis Perspective. 170 episodes in. George, I reckon we've done 160 of those. Good 160 together. So I feel like I'm kind of getting to know you now. I know there was a comment a few days ago asking if we'd fallen out. The answer is no, because we've never actually been friends. But we just keep this show ticking because we talk about Notts, don't we? It's the only thing that we actually have in common. So, as soon as this show's finished, I won't speak to him until Saturday. Let's see who we've got with us. We've got Royston, Ian, Elvis, Callum, who's a channel member. We've got Ian, Marcus, Stephen, Rob, Shane, who's with us quite regularly. We've got Rob, Matt, good to have you with us, Gaza, another Ian, Nick as well, Ewan. Good evening to you all. Thank you for joining us. As always, we are powered by Better Bytes Computers. Mappily, Notts County fan run computer shop. Use the code Pavis Perspective. Get yourself a discount on computer repairs or refurbished computers. As always, we could not do the show without them. And if you're listening back on Spotify, drop that 5-star review. It's massively appreciated. Got some good listens on Spotify week in, week out now, which is fantastic to see, and good views on the video. Subscribe if you're new. I think you can tell what the mood of this video is going to be, because the poll question today is 5 games into the season. Have you got it? Have you got it to hand, George?
I have got it to hand.
5 games into the season. You can feel the mood of the pod. What is it?
Are you enjoying watching Notts so far this season? Yes, no, or I haven't had a chance to watch it.
I've got a very definite answer that I've locked in, but we'll reveal that at the end. Have you got an answer you've locked in?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of me wishing that it could be the third one. I might give my answer away there.
Yeah, that's told me what your answer is. Yeah, interesting. But we're not going to be all downbeat. We've got positive things to talk about tonight's show. We've got Matty Dennis, who is, been absolutely unreal since joining. We've got Tommy Openda, who's been good. We've got 4 points from the last 2 games. So is there any reason to be concerned? Let's find out. Let's chat. But first, we're talking about Tranmere. And it's your first trip to Tranmere, isn't it, George? First away day there.
Yep.
You've not missed much on the last 2. It was a 0-0 draw on the first game last season. And then, you really didn't miss much on, I believe it was New Year's Day the season before. We got absolutely battered 4-2.
I remember you ringing me after that one.
Yeah, I was pretty angry.
Crying your eyes out.
It was sort of the end for Luke Williams. And I believe, I'm going to ask Ben in a second, who we're about to bring in, who's a Tranmere fan. I believe in that was the game we got absolutely ripped apart by Rob Apter, I think. But let's get Ben in, Tranmere fan. Ben, how are we doing?
Yeah, good, thank you. Good evening. How are you guys?
Yeah, good, thanks. Am I right in saying it was Rob Apter that ripped us apart a couple of years ago?
Yeah, that's right. And I think Luke Williams made a few comments about him after the game, and there's a bit of a meme at one point about it, and yeah, he definitely didn't like playing against him.
No, every time he got the ball, it was sort of head in hands moment. I mean, you probably could have scored 7 or 8 that day.
Yeah.
And if any game, encapsulated last season, it was that one. It was that every week. We scored 2 or 3, you scored 4 or 5.
I think from memory, we started slightly better in that game, and then you guys were really strong for maybe half an hour in the first half.
Yeah.
And then second half was just kind of one-way traffic, and like you say, it could have ended up any score second half.
Yeah, I think we gave away a penalty and a dodgy goal, which happens every single week for the last couple of years. But there we go. So we're 5 games in. Our manager very openly in his first ever interview said, "Judge me after 5 to 10 games." We have judged him after 5 games already. How's your season gone? Only 5 games in, Ben.
It's a bit of a strange one. We had a postponed game at Accrington due to a bit of a mess with one of our cup games. So we've actually only played 4, 8 points from 4, which, normally you'd be really happy 2 points a game, wouldn't you? We're kind of very much in like a bit of a transition holding period at the minute. There's a takeover off the pitch, which was supposed to have been done a year ago, still isn't done. And I think the budget's slightly limited until that goes through. So we're kind of in a bit of limbo at the minute, but Andy Crosby's doing a really good job. Came in back end of last year with 13 games to go. I think at that point everyone thought we were going down, and then we ended up 9 points clear, I want to say. Really kind of solid. Swapped us to a 3-4-2-1 formation, which we've stuck with into this season, and we look very solid. I think we've had the fewest shots on target of anyone in the league against us. So in those 4 games, there's only been 9 shots on target against us, I believe. So we're really solid. And then we've got a few players at the other end of the pitch who are starting to kind of, learn how to play with each other. And Amari Patrick's just in a massive purple patch where if he gets the ball in the final third, you think he might score kind of thing. Doesn't matter where it is. He could be near the throw-in line and you wouldn't be surprised if he stuck at top bins.
I saw a stat that he's scored something ridiculous, like nearly 30% of his career goals for Tranmere.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me because he scored 13 last year and he's on 3 already this year. But there was another stat as well that 6 of his last 8 goals have been from 25 yards or more. And they've all come in, I don't know, probably only the last 10 games or so as well. So he's on a real purple patch and makes it very difficult for teams to kind of defend against us because, if they sit off a bit too much and leave space outside the box, then it's perfect for him.
Matt's coming with that half hour of football was the best I saw us play all season. We would be incredible and then just very, very poor. So that says it all for that season. Couple of questions here then. Charlie says, how's Charlie Whitaker been? And then Ian says, how's Charlie Whitaker doing?
I think he's very much a work in progress for us. The bits he's played, because he's not played every minute, he's looked very tidy on the ball. He's looked a real goal threat. Got a good goal in the League Cup against Burton where he was kind of following in a rebound and kind of headed it in. Got an assist as well in game against Shrewsbury. But I would say where he needs to develop is he's a little bit kind of lightweight for the way we play. We're very aggressive. We like to press from the front and really get in teams' faces. And I think against Shrewsbury, we turned the ball over a lot and caused them a lot of problems with that. And that's probably the one part of his game he really needs to develop to really properly fit into our system. But when he's got the ball at his feet, he's probably something we were missing at times last year. And can see him improving, especially now we've got kind of a few more players back fit, which means that Amari Patrick's playing higher up the pitch now. So he's kind of got that sort of link-up play with Amari starting to develop. Whereas before then, Amari Patrick was playing left wing back. And so it's really interesting with him. I'm not sure if he'll start this Saturday. It's kind of, they've been rotating between Whitaker and a lad called Taylor Harris, who we've got on loan from Luton. He's a slightly different player. He's a bit more of a striker, I would say, than Whitaker is. He's got a bit of pace and likes to get on the shoulder of the defender. So I would imagine that it's more likely that Taylor will play on this Saturday. So we'll see.
I think if I was to use one word to describe him, it would be lightweight. I think his time at Notts, like, he'd produce something amazing, and then he would just he'd drift out of games completely. I remember every time he got the ball, he had to release it very quickly before sort of he was muscled out, and that was coming up to a year ago. So
I will say he started his time at Notts really well, didn't he? He looked really, really promising. He looked like a really, really good signing when we first got him because, he started so well. He showed a lot of promise. He looked very similar to a player that we used to have called Carl Roberts. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him.
Yeah.
But we were excited, and then he just his form just fell off a cliff. He just became really inconsistent. Yeah. He looked like you said it sort of echoes what we saw last season. He shows moments of brilliance, and then he's a little bit inconsistent with it.
Yeah, I think the best example I've got is we played Gillingham a couple of weeks back, who played a low block for the whole game. They just sat in with kind of a back five, and it was up to us to kind of break him down. And relatively early on in that game, he kind of picked the ball up and beat maybe 3 or 4 players, and was a yard or 2 away from setting up a goal. And you kind of thinking, okay, we got a good chance here. And then after that, I think Gillingham kind of showed their experience a bit. And when he picked the ball up, they wouldn't let him turn. They would just, kick through the back of him, even if they gave away a foul. And he kind of drifted out the game a little bit after that. So he's clearly got the talent there. He just needs to bulk up a little bit and be a bit more prepared to take those challenges if he wants to really make it.
I mean, I feel like we a lot of people wanted him to keep him for another year or two, but I don't think I don't think we had the time for that. I don't think we had time to develop him. I think he's one of these players. We've got a couple in our squad at the minute that aren't getting a look in, where you think, actually, give it 2 or 3 years and they'll be at a different club doing a lot better than we saw from them. I mean, I don't know, you probably didn't watch it because it was so boring, but the playoff semi-final against Wimbledon at their place, we were crying out for him to A, not start the game, and B, be taken off. And Maynard, who's just been appointed the York manager in the last couple of hours, played him, and it was like, he was so far off it at the top end. But I hope he does well. You know, he did always give his all. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see if he does start. 2 questions, Ben, before we let you go. The first is, you mentioned Amari Patrick. We're obviously going to be looking out for Charlie Whitaker. Is there one other player in the squad that we might not necessarily know about that we should be keeping an eye out for on Saturday?
I think Pavis, sorry, the dog's going to be jealous with me being on the.
There's a lot of calls to show the dog.
Yeah, just a bit upset. Ethan Brister, probably left wing back. He was with us a few years back, and I think he was kind of the best left wing back in League Two a few years ago. He got moved over to America and didn't really work out, so he ended up back with us. But he's very athletic. He can boost past players, and he's played a couple of games now, so we'll probably start to see more and more out of him. And with him also being on the same side of the pitch as Amari, I think that's down that left side is where our real threat will be on Saturday.
Yeah, we've got a few calls asking if we can actually have the dog as a striker because we're that short of attackers. We've only got one attacker currently, so anyone will do. My final question, Ben, is, I know it's a hard one, but can I have a score prediction?
I'm going to say 2-1. I think you guys create quite a lot from what I've seen, but you're also a bit leaky at the back, and with us being at home, we'll be on the front foot, and should be quite an open game. So yeah, I think 2-1 to us.
Yeah, fair enough, Ben. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate it, and enjoy the game Saturday.
Yeah, cheers.
Cheers, Ben. Thank you. Cheers. Ooh, Tranmere will be a tough one. I mean, I don't actually know our record away at Tranmere. If I have a quick look, because it's not in recent memory been fantastic. Obviously, we drew 0-0, lost 4-2. We lost 1-0 there in 2019. We lost 3-2 there in 2014. We drew 1-1 in 2013. We drew 1-1 in 2012. And we won away in 2011. Goal from penalty. Who scored the penalty? Craig Westcar.
There we go.
Craig Westcar, 42nd minute penalty. And that season, we finished 19th in League One. Look at some of the teams in League One then. Brighton and Southampton went up as automatic. Huddersfield, MK, Bournemouth. What could have been? Awful. Man United will be there soon, League One. Did you watch it last night?
I didn't know, but someone's got to change there, right? For United.
I still think they'd have smashed us.
Did you see that? Yeah, I agree with you, actually. I do agree with that. I think we'd have struggled against them, which is obvious, but we just don't seem to. Yeah, it's just a different story because it wouldn't have happened. But
Norburn would have. Well, Bruno Fernandes wouldn't have left the pitch walking, would he? If Norburn.
Did you see that? Did you see that stat that Amarim's got? Amarim, not his name.
No.
He's played more games than he's won points.
Is he really?
Yeah. Well, he's managed more games than he's had points.
Managed more games than he's had points.
Yeah. So he's managed 29 games and they've got 28 points.
That's worse than Martin Patterson's record.
Yeah,
Patterson's
not good, is it? Man United manager.
I could do a better job. Guy said, how did we get Russo over Christy Pym? Did Pym not used to play for Mansfield as well? I could walk to the ground. Anyway, let's go back to Bromley. With about 75 minutes gone, I thought we're doing really well here. We're going to grind out a win against a team we don't normally play well against. We're going to have 6 points from 6 at home after a bad start. Then you start to build momentum. Then you can go to Tranmere and maybe a draw will be okay because then you'll be 3 unbeaten. A win will be amazing, but you'd have 7 points from 9 and you'll be on a serious run. You go back home against Fleetwood, who are no pushovers, but they're not the best team in the league. And I could start to see, and you shouldn't do this in football, and managers use the cliche, just look at the game ahead of you. But as a fan, you can start to see where things are going to pick up. And you know what? You make your own luck in football, but that goal was bad luck, the second goal. It was just a bit of bad luck. I mean, we allowed them to have the shot. But what do you make of it? Because I suddenly left and I went away and I didn't feel massively, massively gutted. Whereas last year and the year before, I'd have been like, go on, sorry.
Yeah, I agree with you. I left feeling exactly the same. And if you'd have watched my my post match, I pretty much said that. Draw against Bromley, it's decent. Scoring a set piece against them, things like that. But are we not? Should we not be feeling like that? We should be wanting to win our games at home. It's bizarre. It's bizarre, really. That because honestly, I cannot stress to you enough how much I walked away from that game and thought that was actually all right. Like I think, getting a point against Bromley when we were going to struggle, but is it because we're going into that game thinking we're going to lose?
It's madness that we've got that because we're thinking like that, isn't it?
It is.
We want to be challenging. We want to be challenging for top 3.
And as it stands, we're miles away, absolutely miles away, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean, I remember we had Jordan on in the phone-in, I think it was, pre-season phone-in, and he said, he was asking where our ceiling is and how far we can fall. And I said on that show, I can see us finish anywhere from like 7th to 17th. And Jordan was like, no way. Would you say now that's realistic?
Yeah, I mean, I've sort of always thought that, like, just below playoffs, maybe. It's going to be a difficult season, I think, on paper. Look, how many days have we got left? 2-3 days left of the transfer window. Every interview that Patson's done after a game, more or less, that we've struggled in or not quite got the result in, he's been talking about needing, strength in numbers. I've seen you posting about on X about, needing numbers. But we do have quite a bloated squad, which is true. So I think it might have been a case of we needed to get more players out the door on loan maybe before we brought someone in. But yeah, this is honestly like the first time really where I'm like seriously question what the owner's vision is. Yes, we have a lot on the books. We need to get some of those out on loan, definitely, but the squad that we've assembled we've not paid for any of them, and we've sold Bass for a good fee. We need to bring in strength in number, good quality players. I still think we're like 2, maybe 3 really quality players off being, anywhere near getting in the playoffs. I'm willing to be proven wrong, and don't get me wrong. Another thing I said in my sort of match reaction, I think Dennis is one of the signings of the summer already, and he's on a free. So you can get these gems on a free. Bedu was free, wasn't he, as well? So you can get these like really good players. But when another thing you said, you're sort of so close to sort of just tipping that top 3. You don't need mass overhaul. You don't need mass changes, and we've done that over the summer. Maybe that's the long-term vision, and they want to adapt a little bit to League 2. I don't know. It's a funny one because I don't find myself set in a certain way of thinking about Notts at the minute. I think at that Bromley game, I was sat there thinking, yeah, we're actually changing, adapting to League 2 a little bit more than we've seen in previous seasons, and we're being a little bit more tough to beat. And I think we did see that against Bromley. And there is an element of me and everyone that was saying we need to adapt more to League 2, we need to be more physical. So in a sense, it is good to see. But I just feel like it's a lot of changes, isn't it, in one window. The coaching setup's completely changed. There's not been much continuity, which they have talked about being quite important. So, look, it was a huge gamble for the owners. I'm just sort of hoping we see some form of investment on the pitch, because don't get me wrong, off the pitch, commercially, we're investing loads and it's all looking good. And I know we'll have a big wage bill because of the bloated squad, but if we're serious about being contenders for promotion, we need more. We need more quality, don't we?
We do. I'm just going to put this up very quickly. It's taken 20 minutes this week, which is quite long. Mark said Marcus Harbour is the anagram.
How on earth?
It was a difficult one this week. Really
How
difficult.
on earth have you got that?
And Canadian was here, scored in a 2-0 win at home against Tranmere in 2013 season. Last year scored 31 goals in the Cambodian Premier League. Still playing, 36 years old. So Mark, fair play. That is to get that is impressive. There was a comment here as you were talking, George. A couple of comments. First one, Venoms has said Viborg got a new $2.5 million academy training facility with the owners having shares in and adding funds to Viborg recently. Is that somewhere where some of the money might have gone? I believe that was a lot of that came through grants that they, not Conor Grant, but grants that they received. Conor Grant giving Viborg a training facility that they received, and there was some funding. There was funding for that. So, yeah, I mean, I'd be fuming if they were starting spending money on things like that. And Venoms also have his match-worn shirt from Wednesday in the Cup that year, the purple kit. Nice one. That's a pretty niche one. Yeah, there was another comment as well, which I do, and I have noticed. Let me try and find that comment because it's something Richard said it here. Martin Patterson is getting more exasperated each interview. And I don't think when we're saying exasperated, it's necessarily like really noticeable. But if you look, it's sort of like 2 or 3 weeks ago, he was just dipping his toe in the water, kind of saying, we're working hard. We're working hard every day. We do need some money. And then sort of a couple of weeks later, and after Bromley, he's all but calling for it. He said, I wanted to put 2 strikers on the pitch to set them wide, to stop Bromley, being able to pen us back. And I couldn't do that. So I had to bring on sort of attacking midfielders, as you would, Grant and Hall. To actively say that within, what would you say, 6-7 weeks of being manager? I think that's quite a big thing to say already. Like, I wanted to do this, but I couldn't do this. Like, I don't think that, and I'm not jumping on it and saying,
no, I don't think it's too bad.
What he's basically saying they're not giving me what I need.
Yeah, but he's sort of erring on the side of caution with the way he words it as well. It's not like he's been.
But he was far more cautious 3 weeks ago, but he still said it. So if we get to the Fleetwood game in 2 weeks' time, he didn't get a striker in. What's he going to be like then?
I reckon he'll be jumping up and down, to be honest.
Then what? Then the whole system's messed up within the first 2 months, isn't it? Because you've got the person that's supposed to be the head of this hierarchy that's unhappy. I think we said it's a recipe for disaster, and I agree with you. The owners have got to do something in the next 3 days because, yeah, James has said, but would we all be upset if he wasn't saying that in the window? I love that fact. Yeah, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, to be fair, James.
No, yeah, I agree with James.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm saying that, I don't know. You don't know what goes on. You don't know what's promised or anything like this. But he has been saying we need a striker for a long time. And tomorrow is 25 days since we made a signing, which I find crazy. But what do you think the problem is? The squad is so full in the wrong places.
Yeah, pretty much. I think that's the biggest contributing factor, isn't it? We've got too many players on the books really that haven't hit the ground running. There we go. 25 months of buying you a beer.
Cheers, Colin.
Cheers, Colin. Nice one, mate. Appreciate that.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. So, what do you do?
I think if Jata doesn't play on Saturday, there's a very, very heavy chance that he goes on deadline day?
I don't think he does.
You don't think? You think he stays?
I think he's staying. Yeah.
And how do you feel about that at this point?
I don't know, because I almost feel like mentally I believed he was leaving. I thought he was leaving. Like that sort of added fuel to the fire as well. The whole back spasm thing, and even the way that it was sort of worded by Patterson. Again, like we've just sort of talked about the way he words things and being careful and things like that. I don't think he was very careful about the way he was wording what he's talking about with Jatto. He sort of said, "Oh, he's reported back spasms where we're supposed to have, this new doctor that's supposed to be able to not like he's a magician, but he's supposed to be able to, diagnose and get treatment done better and quicker and things like this." So I thought that was a bit of a bizarre way to put it. I think there could be alarm bells ringing if he's not playing on Saturday. I just think it's going to be normality resumed on Saturday, and I think Jack will be in the squad.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. What do you make of this comment by Melanie? A few people saying they agree. I don't think MP is using the resources to the best of his advantage. He needs to get over himself and play Jarvis. I think that. And I'm going to add to that as well, Traore. Because if he's that desperate for a striker, Traore is there. But then
Traore's not a striker though, is he?
He is, isn't he?
I don't think he is. I'm sure he's more of like a winger, isn't he?
No, I'm sure he's a striker.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I mean, he used to come on as striker, didn't he? Well,
he's said it in things that like interviews and stuff like that there's only 2 strikers at the club. So even if he is a striker, I don't think Patterson sees him as that.
What do you think of the Jarvis situation? He's listed on Transfermarkt as a centre forward.
I like Jarvis. I thought Jarvis showed a lot of promise. A player that was paid a fee for as well. It's a strange situation because at the back end of last season, when McGoldrick was the only one really giving us any thread of hope, Jarvis was sort of that thread of hope that we lacked when we didn't have McGoldrick, or if McGoldrick was coming off and things like that. He looked like he could open a game up. He can take a player on. I'm not sure what the issue is. I really don't know. It's bizarre. For him not to even be in the squad is bizarre. So yeah, I know what people are saying about. I sort of half agree with that, and not using Jarvis and moaning about attacking threat. But we definitely need players. We definitely need players. And let's be honest as well. I don't believe that it's going to be something personal between Patterson and Jarvis. You've got to remember it's a technical board. It will be a combined decision, and I think it'll be a decision that they sort of have to agree on to an extent. Generally, all of them. So
yeah.
There's got to be something there for him not to be even in the squad. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'd be very, very disappointed if we don't even get to see him play. Do you know what I mean? If he's sent out on loan, he has a lot of potential. I know a couple of people are saying, like, what's he really done? But the way even coming on as a sub, the way I've watched him breeze past players. You go to Alfred's first game of the season, and he started in the first pre-season friendly. So something's gone wrong there, hasn't it? Because I mean, he wasn't in the building long, was he, Patterson? But he did start. Someone said criminal Jarvis not in the squad, he can change a game. Yeah, all I would say is, even if he isn't producing things in training, give him the opportunity to come on 10 minutes to go, because he can go past the player really, really easily, like glide past the player, and we've seen he can hit it from distance. He would cause issues. But if he's not, at the end of the day, we don't know, do we? We really don't know. I mean, I'm not saying this is the case at all, because I don't know, but if he's really not putting it in training at all, then he shouldn't play. Let's say he's not impressing Patterson, but the owners are like, look, we paid money for him. We need to start seeing at least some return on investment. Who then wins out? This is where I think it gets really difficult. Because what if he were to stop playing, I don't know, I'm going to have a hypothetical situation. Let's say we did spend money and bought like a player for, I don't know, 200,000-300,000, and Patterson didn't think he was putting the work in. Then who wins?
Yeah, I think that's different, to be honest. I think that's different. I think the thing that you have with Jarvis, obviously, I think if we was to buy someone in, they'd probably be young. But Jarvis is young, he's still learning his craft, isn't he? Maybe they're sort of using this period as like I don't know how to word it, but maybe like a harsh lesson for him, maybe. That, if you're not going to, book up your ideas, you're not going to find yourself not playing football, because he's got another couple of years at Knox, hasn't he? Might even be longer.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, I believe that there is pressure from above, that if we have a player that's of value and, is giving interest, getting interest from other clubs, I think there is pressure from above to play certain players, to hold their value and keep their value high. So, if an offer does come in,
yeah.
Because there was times last season when there was one or two players I was questioning why they're on the pitch, but then there's murmurs of them, having offers and things like that.
Mm. Interesting. Yeah, it's interesting. We'll see. We'll have to see what happens, especially when the transfer window closes. Something that I don't think closes the door for Notts in a good way is the National League window. I believe is either longer or it's continuous. And with Maynard and Casey, who's been on the channel before, you'll know him if you're on X. Did mention this. I think it's a really good point. Maynard's just been appointed the York manager. You could definitely see them coming in for a few players on loan. Definitely. I'm thinking Hinchy. He could be good at that level. You think, would he like Edwards? We never really know how much he actually liked Edwards and thought he was a good player because he was injured. A few calls about Conor Grant. I don't think Conor Grant's going to leave this season.
No way. Conor Grant's in quality.
Yeah. I mean, his goal against Shrewsbury was good. Great tackle on the halfway line when he came on for limited minutes against Bromley. You hope that could free up a few. Someone said here that Jarvis will end up at York. I personally think that would be a bad decision, unless there's a recall clause. But I want to see him play. I want to see at least what he's got. If he comes on the pitch for a couple of games, half an hour here, 40 minutes there, 20 minutes here, and you can see this is just not suited to the way we play, or the quality is not there, or the effort's not there. Fair enough. But I want to see what he's actually got available. Dennis, then let's talk some good. You said on your post match that you think just how good he's been. Would you be tempted for a bet on top scorer in the league?
I'd be tempted. I'd definitely be tempted. My only concern would be competition for place. But in my opinion, honestly, he keeps Jatter out the team if there's one striking position.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think
we'll ever? You know what? Yeah, let's do it. I'd bang some money on it.
Do you think we'll ever go two up top?
Yeah, I do. He said it, hasn't he? He said it.
I mean, from the start.
Maybe.
I'll be honest. Dennis was the first signing, and some people really downbeat about him. I wasn't. I wasn't, delighted. He's just been in the team. He's got relegated, but he had a decent record. I thought, okay, let's see what he's got. Have you been actually shocked at how good he's been? Was the expectation there?
Yeah, no, I have been shocked. Surprising, in a good way. I think I put a tweet up after a couple of games. I don't think he'd had a competitive goal. So it must have been 2 or 3 games in. I think might have been, I don't know. And I had a couple of replies saying this guy hasn't scored a goal yet. I was just thinking,
saw those, yeah.
You gotta you can't be serious. Genuinely, if he stays fit all season, and plays all season, there is no doubt in my mind, genuinely, that he'll be top scorer in the league.
Yeah,
and it's not for me, he has signs of being a better striker than anyone we've had under this ownership, and that's a big thing to say.
Maka.
But he's making goals. Yeah. Honestly, I believe he could be better than Maka. I mean that as well. Honestly, like I think he could get Maka numbers this season. You know, if he stays on track and he stays fit and stuff like that, because he's not just got the ability to be in the right place, and it is sort of coming together a little bit more now. Obviously, with him like scoring from a set piece like that header, and the first goal against Bromley, he makes that goal on his own. Really, I think Roos gets the assist for the goal against Bromley. That's how much
Bruce kicks it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
That's what I'm saying. That gives more credit to Dennis, because Dennis has made that goal entirely on his own.
Yeah.
So he's got that about him, and he's got the sort of he's sort of starting to earn that fox in the box also as well, isn't he? So you know, he's got a lot of strings to his bow that you want from a striker, and he just seems to have a really good attitude. I don't know if you've seen any of his post-match interviews. He comes across really well as well, and really likable. So I've got really high hopes for Dennis. Really high hopes.
A couple of people asked what you've been drinking. Someone said you bang your head, and my favourite comment is replace George with the Wirral dog. But you know what? He scored a poacher's goal. He scored a header from a set piece. He scored a header from open play, and he scored a goal that he's made all on his own. So he could really, really be a good player for us this season. Take a little bit of that pressure off. You know, Patterson says he's not a 90-minute striker, but this is not me down in Jatta. This is me talking about Dennis's qualities. What I feel is no one last season, and this can include Traore in this in the brief time I was here. No one roughed up defenders like Dennis has roughed up defenders in the first few games, especially Bromley defenders, who we know. You saw Byron Webster come on; he's like 8'5". You know, that number 5 they had that absolutely wiped out Jody. Very, very tall, strong, physical player, but Dennis on his own had them concerned. He did. So I definitely see where you're coming from. I'm not sure I agree with the Maka levels, but you know, if he keeps scoring, he's going to get those numbers, isn't he? And
you got to consider as well. You got to consider the team sort of the amount of chances that we created when Maka was up top. We're not creating as many chances. You know, I'd say we're not anyway. I don't actually know statistically, but it feels like Maka had a good amount of chances in the games where he did score. I
don't think we've created that many for Dennis yet.
That's what I mean. You remember the goals, but you got to remember as well there was quite a lot of chances that Maka did miss as well. And I'm not down in Maka. I'm not saying anything bad about Maka. I love Maka. Maka was amazing. To have a striker like that at your club is everything that you need. But honestly, I genuinely believe Dennis, you know, given a bit more service and maybe with another striker with him, I think he could be honestly so dangerous.
Yeah. Adam said, I like Roos and his chant that sounds like Boo's really passionate as well, but shaky playing out from the back. I can't say I necessarily agree with him. I'm not a fan at all. Maybe I've just got, you know, a bit of trauma from seeing Bastley, but doesn't fill me with confidence. Really, really doesn't. And that's not just the playing out from the back. For me, that's not claiming crosses. That's punching at things. I mean, I've seen a couple of goals this season that have gone straight down the middle of the goal that he should have saved. The header against Shrewsbury is nowhere near. But, you know, we are 5 games in. So many things could happen. Dennis might not score for another 10 games and Roos might end up being one of our players of the season. That's how early we are into the season.
Sticking sort of on that last point to talk about Dennis, I know people are saying it in the chat as well about him not being a 90-minute striker. Do you think that comes?
Yeah. He played 14 games for Carlisle last season and is then asked to do a lone striker role. Yeah, I think so. I think so.
I think if he gets that about him.
Well, let's not forget he played 97 minutes with quite a bit of the last 20 with 10 men against Barrow, leading the line on his own. I think he's. Let's have a look now. So he's played 90, 86, 90, 63, 87. So he's played almost everything. Last season, he played 4 for Rochdale, 2 for MK Dons, that's 6, and 14 for Carlisle. So that's 20 league games last season. 14 the year before, 10 the year before. So he's not actually, he's a quarter of the way to last season already. I'm happy. I'm really happy with him. Really happy with him as a striker. We do need some extra. We need some extra players in. It's undoubted. What we will have is a video on Sunday, which will be 24 hours until the deadline's finished. So keep an eye out for that. We'll be discussing squad depth and everything like that. But let's go for our joint team then. Ian will like this. Calls last week. Few calls for us to, make the writing a bit bigger. Should we see if it's worked, George?
See if it's worked, Tom.
George, has it worked?
Can't read it.
Oh.
I'm joking. Of course it's worked. Look at the size of that font.
There we go. Here's our lineup. In goal, we go for Kel Roos. In goal, we discussed him. We go for Al Joffrey. Need to see more. Not sure right centre-back has been our strongest position for a number of seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Macquarie, good, but not excellent. In a back 3 last year with Platt and Bedu, who were excellent. Al Joffrey, not sure. Who did we have in the National League season? Was it that right centre-back position in our promotion? Trying to have it was like rotated with Rawler, wasn't it? And Brindley and people. At the centre, we've got McDonald. How are you feeling about McDonald? Done all right, hasn't he?
I think he's been quite good, yeah. Impressed.
This is my concern. Not quite the same player yet. Yeah. Nick Cerula. We've got our Joffrey and Bedu there. Nick Cerula, George.
Quality.
Best player in the league.
He's up there.
He's up there. He's top one. Here, we've gone for Gordon. Would you say I won out in that decision? Would you have gone for Cotter, do you think?
No, I think Gordon's been the more consistent of the two.
Yeah.
Cotter has a moment of brilliance in him. We've seen that. But he also has quite a lot of moments of almost panic, maybe, where you just feel like he's making, maybe an incorrect decision or something like that. But yeah, I think Gordon is the better option at the moment out of the two. Yeah,
Palmer was great, really, really good aggressive in the tackle, got his passes in, so I was happy with Palmer. We've gone Norburn. We've decided to go with Norburn. Want to see a little bit more. Maybe Norburn is one of these players that allows other players to do their thing. So, definitely. Palmer played that well. Let's see if Norburn in the team again facilitates Palmer doing that well. That meant Pender was pushed forward. We've seen nothing but good things from him. I think what we'd have done, George, isn't it, is if we hadn't have had Norburn, would have pushed Pender back and probably had Grant in that attacking position.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Jody in the 10? I backed it a few weeks ago and I'm still backing it.
Yeah, I think he's improved. He's definitely improved. I think it took him a few games to sort of get in the flow, but you can't really knock him. His sort of his link-up play with Pender, and I think it was Cerula in one of the previous games, was just ridiculous. You were sort of seeing I'd say flashes, but it's more than flashes. We're starting to see Jody back to where he was before his sort of long-term injury.
Definitely. And then obviously we can't pick anyone else.
Let's talk about him again.
I'd be gutted if Patterson went for Jatta over Dennis. I can't see him doing that. Can't see that. He's our main man at the minute, isn't he?
Yeah.
You'd be absolutely crazy. And I think even though it's just one decision, you'd be crazy to, when you're already pushing it with the fan base in terms of we're not quite sure yet, not just on him, on a lot of the players and this tactical board, right? You'd be crazy to drop a player that scored 4 and 3. It wouldn't be worth the hassle. Yes, Jatta could start and go on and score a winner, but we're going to keep it there. There's our lineup then. That's what we've gone for. Let us know what you think of that lineup. Do you like it? There you go. People say you just don't drop a form player end of. So, yeah. Some are saying Grant for Norburn. Some saying Jatta and Dennis. Grant needs to start. Better font, guys. Cotto over Gordon for me. Fair enough. All part of decisions. Yeah. Last thing before we get onto our prediction is a lot of people saying, well, not a lot of people saying it's happened. Jody called up for Malta. Kuyar called up for Afghanistan. Hall in the provisional squad for Jamaica. I believe that's what I read. Which would mean if all three got picked, I believe we could ask for a postponement against Fleetwood at home. Would you do that? Or would let's say we don't get a victory against Tranmere or worst of all, lose. You've got no Jody in that team. Would you just go for a postponement?
No, I don't think I would.
Okay. I don't think Patson would want it.
No, I don't either.
Those 10 positions, you'd lose Hall. We've not got Luca because he's injured. Yeah, I don't think he'd want it. People are saying, someone said, yeah, Ian says, yes, postpone Fleetwood at a wedding. Fleetwood have, I read somewhere, and I'm not a Fleetwood fan, or I've not been trawling the internet. I've read somewhere that Fleetwood do have international call-ups as well. You get that a lot. A lot of teams in even League Two now have international call-ups. I bet 10 years ago you'd have one maybe, but you get loads of teams that have international players now, don't you? So, surprised Nick Cerullo's not been called up to the Brazil squad. He's that good. Argentina, Brazil, Spain. He's class. What a player. Right, let's go with our prediction. I'm also still in shock that someone got brush camera.
I know. There's definitely something going on there. There's no way someone got that right. No way.
I'm going to Google. I bet there's like a Notts County former player anagram solver.
Pavis perspective.
Yeah, Pavis perspective, 25-26 season. Black font on a yellow background anagram solver.
Yeah.
There has to be. Rumour that Cerullo turned Brazil down to focus on Notts. Inside info there.
It's good. It's good stuff.
Score prediction away at Tranmere.
I'm going straight in with a 1-1.
I think we get a point. I don't think we score more than one because only MK Dons have got no one's got a better defensive record than Tranmere. MK Dons have got equal, conceded 2 in 4 games. Well, actually, Tranmere have got MK Dons got better because they played 5 games. But I'm gonna go 1-1 as well. I think I copied you a few weeks ago.
Dennis to score.
Yeah, keep it going with Dennis. Yeah.
Copy me again.
I've copied you. Yeah, but you, like I said on the vlog, the fountain of all knowledge.
Yeah,
stuck with you. So, we had to go with yours. But yeah, that's what I'll go with. Should we end on a high? Let's see if we end on a high. What's the poll question results? Let's see if we end on that high.
I don't think we're ending on a high. So there's been 163 votes. The question is, are you enjoying watching Not so far this season? 9% say I haven't had a chance to watch yet. 31% say yes. 60% say no.
I'm gonna say I voted no.
Yeah, I voted no, but it's close. It's close. I'm somewhere in between.
Yeah, but I didn't particularly go away from the Shrewsbury game thinking I loved that.
True. Yeah. True.
But I also left the Barrow game thinking I'm just going to sit on a grass virgin Barrow and just stay here. So, it's all fun and games, really, isn't it? Well, as Will says on the channel, just enjoy the ride. George, you're up tomorrow, aren't you, for the predictions?
Yeah, they've got me back in after a couple of weeks of some appalling results from.
Did you hear what Jordan got last week? He got -1.
Yeah, it was always going to happen. That wasn't it?
That's unreal. If you watched back the video closely, he says Notts at home to Burnley, not Bromley. It's shocking. So we gave him a -1 for that. Go back and find it. And if he doesn't say it, then he's changed the video. What I'm saying. We've got 1-0 Notts. We've got Desmond 2-2. Dennis double. We've got 3-1 Tranmere. Come on, Rob. You've got to be a Tranmere fan saying that. We only predict wins on here and draws. and sometimes losses. 2-2. We've got a 1-5. Dennis, Hattrick and Jarvis come in the last 5 minutes to get a brace. Patterson knee slide down the whole pitch. Imagine one knee slide with very little run up. That would be class. We've got 2-2. We've got 1-0 Dennis. We've got 3-1 Knots. Dennis Hattrick. We've got 2-1 Knots. We've got Mrs. says 3-0. I'd be delighted with that. With the 3-0. A couple more. We've got 2-1 Tranmere. We get a penalty. 3-0 Tranmere. Maybe not 0-0, but it'd be nice to keep a clean sheet. That's what I'd say. 1-0 Knots. Dennis. I can't. Tranmere had problems scoring last season. They've not had problems scoring this season. I know we haven't spoken about it, but it's Lincoln away in the EFL Trophy. We'll discuss that more with a reaction to that video. But right now, we're going to do manager tour, taking it one game at a time. One game at a time. Thank you all for watching. Big numbers again on the Pavis perspective. Thank you for your questions. Been really interesting chat. Always love reading that chat. Hopefully you are still enjoying our new way of doing the teams and our lineups with the graphics on it. So yeah, we're enjoying doing that as well. If you are traveling to Tranmere, we'll be there. So maybe we'll catch a few of you, say hello, and safe travels to everyone that is going. Please do subscribe to the channel if you are new. We're getting a lot of new subscribers this season. We want to keep this channel growing, keep as much content coming out for you as possible. Let's go for, I would be greedy and say 3,000 likes on the video, but we'll go for 100 likes on the video this week, so I'm not going to be too greedy. So yeah, let's hope it is a very positive show next week.